Hello, Dr. Fox. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome on the What's Next podcast. We are incredibly fortunate to have you today. You are renowned for the 75 million raise at Enamelon and your current monumental mission with Akelos to tackle the opioid crisis. Today, we're going to dive deep into the strategic blueprint behind your success. We'll cover high-stakes funding, team building, and navigating the FDA process. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So in our preparatory call, you mentioned that the most critical aspect of high-stakes ventures is having the best people around. Could you start by telling us how that philosophy informs your assembly of the distinguished Akelos Scientific Advisory Board?
Sure. And I would edit that a little bit and say that, yes, you need to be having the best people around you, but you also need a very good idea to attract those people. So that's the first step, either a good patent or a good idea. And then those people will be attracted to what you're doing. But you can tap into their years of experience and knowledge and reputations, and that would enhance anything that you're doing. But you need a good idea. And I can tell you about our board. We have the former chief counsel to the FDA, a Nobel Prize winner in chemistry, a former Senate Majority Leader of the United States, former heads of neuroscience at Lilly, Merck, Pfizer, head of analgesia at J&J, chief of pain, Boston Children's Hospital and Harvard Medical School, and also the head of business development at Amgen. I added that in recently because now that we're accelerating our progress, you have to start modifying and saying to yourself, what person now can fill in the missing pieces going forward?
And what way are you accelerating your progress with this?
Well, we're drug development. So, raising capital and always going to the next test. Really what I'm focused on, getting capital in to take me to the IND. IND is investigational new drug, phase 1, 2, and 3, which is human trials.
With regards to the strategy and risk management, so you successfully navigated a major raise with Enamelon. What is the biggest mistake you see early stage biopharma founders making today when structuring their funding strategy for a novel drug?
Well, the biggest mistake would be selling too big a piece of your company at the beginning, then being diluted enough so that you no longer are running your own company or somebody else has control of your board and they show you the front door as quickly as they can. That can happen with a VC, but it's a delicate dance because if you want to do is take the valuation up slowly as you raise capital. And as the valuation goes up, you sell pieces, but that way you still can maintain control over your baby. That's the way I would recommend raising capital and advancing the project.
Those learning come with experience and to face those sort of issues, I
Well,
suppose.
sure. It comes with having scars all over your body from doing it wrong or lots of philosophies of thought. I mean, to entrepreneurs who didn't want to sell enough, you won't have the money you need to get to the next step. So don't be greedy. There's an old expression on Wall Street: the bears make money, the bulls make money, and the pigs get killed. So this is a delicate dance of making sure you have money, but at the same time, not giving up too much. And you can outsmart yourself sometimes. It's something you learn how to work your way through. You can't overdo it one way or the other.
Akelos is tackling the opioid crisis with non-opioid drug and navigating the FDA process for a novel therapeutic in a high-risk area is complex. So what is the single most critical piece of advice you can give founders about managing the regulatory pathway?
Well, again, there's a lot to it. So, any way you can get non-dilutive funding, which would be government, NIH, BARDA, any non-dilutive funding is helpful because you're also not diluting your shareholders. Always make sure you have enough money to advance the testing. You don't want to stop in the middle of anything. And well, again, hire people or have people consulting with you who have done it before. It's not an easy process, and you don't want to make expensive mistakes. Look, we have a non-opioid, non-addictive lead, a new drug that could take care of chronic pain. There is no drug that physicians and dentists write a prescription for that works. They write it for antidepressants, anticonvulsants, and opioids. And the consequence of that has been the worst healthcare crisis in the history of the United States. And the only way you're going to get out of that box is if you have a new non-opioid drug. And for the capitalists, that would be a $13 to $25 billion a year market. and it would help hundreds of millions of people who have diabetic pain, shingles, post-surgical pain, so chemotherapy. You have to manage all of those moving parts. And there are a lot of new things going on at the FDA today. I mean, they're looking for advance more quickly with, call it nerve on a chip versus animal studies, or fast tracking companies through human trials. One of the companies that have tried to advance new drugs have gotten fast tracking. A lot of new things that are going on to advance the testing in a quicker fashion.
So your background spans dental innovation to the opioid crisis. What lessons from your earlier ventures prove most vital in structuring Akelos to be lean, strategic, and focused on execution?
Well, I started doing this for the first time in 1992. I licensed a technology from the American Dental Association and the National Institute of Standard and Technology. And I had to learn, I'd never taken a business course in college. I'm a doctor of dental surgery. I had to learn how to build the bike while I rode it. So a lot of that is your own, jungle savvy, but a lot of it again is getting good people. And when you hire people, I'm not so sure that you want people necessarily from the S&P 500. I think with a startup, you want people that are very good at guerrilla warfare because it's tough to get a product in every store in America, which I did, 42,000 stores. And then when you're competing with the big boys, they can make it even tougher. So it's a very difficult process of really triangulating all the time between trying to get a company public, using your stock as currency, hiring people, marketing, advertising. Patents are very important because if you don't protect everything worldwide, you're screwed. So if you're going to license from a university, very often they don't spend the money to protect patents worldwide. They don't have it. So you really should concentrate your resources, if it's in science and it's patented, on getting it patented around the world. So you need the right patent lawyers because you're building up moats all around you every single day. It's kind of a process. Every entrepreneur knows that. And sometimes you're on fumes and you're not, but somehow perseverance is really the name of the game. And that's how you succeed. You have to persevere. There are good times and there are tough times, but you must persevere.
I was hearing that you're still passionate about meeting patients, and I guess you still can with
I do.
Akelos. That's quite exciting.
Well, I've been called a polymath. I like to do different things. Every person has multiple talents. Most people don't explore them, but they do exist. And I've always really started with the basis of being a doctor. And then, all of my entrepreneurial activities, most of it has been in healthcare. That's what I enjoy. And I enjoy still treating patients. I devised a new program for people with bad breath, which touches on the oral systemic connection, which is bacterial and how it can cause heart attacks, strokes, diabetes, cancer, dementia in patients. I can't wait to get up in the morning and tackle something new. And sure, I'm exhausted sometimes from it, but I get bored if I don't do it. So I keep at it.
Good.
Sure.
Next section is about strategic innovation in the future. So we know AI is transforming discovery. Can you share how Akelos is currently leveraging AI for molecule screening or target identification and what results you are seeing?
Yes, we have used an AI technology to find targets new to develop. They don't exist in science today. You don't know if they'll work or they won't work, but we do have multiple second generation drugs that we're looking at as a result of AI. AI is adjunctive. There are times when it works, there are times when it doesn't work. It's definitely going to be an important tool. There's no question about it. It's in its infancy. I'm trying to utilize it in any way I can. It just doesn't have to be about drug discovery. It could be writing a contract. It could be anything applicable to an entrepreneurial endeavor where you can cut to the chase.
So in that idea, beyond molecule discovery, you just mentioned about contract, but where do you see the biggest unmet need in the commercial or funding pipeline that technology hasn't solved yet with specialty pharma?
Well, I would just say that the biggest need will be in accelerating drug approval and accelerating drug discovery. It's a long, arduous, expensive process. And any way that you can cut it shorter, all the more power to you. So I think that obviously, like any other occupation, AI is going to cut to the chase in a lot of places. How you set up your trials is very important, and which disease you test for first when you
Mhm.
have a painkiller. So I would think that AI will be very, very helpful.
And looking ahead in 5 years, how will the approach pioneered by Akelos fundamentally change the way chronic pain is treated and managed in North America?
Well, I would hope that somebody could take a pill once a day or a shot once a month and mitigate the excruciating pain of neuropathic pain. Neuropathic pain comes from diabetes, chemotherapy, post-surgical pain. In many instances, people will kill themselves because the pain is so bad. So the other part of it is I don't want people addicted. Hundreds of millions of people around the world are addicted to opioids. We need a non-opioid drug for chronic pain. We have it for acute pain. That's not the issue. Chronic pain is the issue. So physicians and dentists are writing placebos. They're writing antidepressants, wasn't invented for that. Anticonvulsants, it wasn't invented for pain. And they're writing opioids to take you out of your body, but you're going to get addicted. So we have a disaster because of the opioid crisis.
We're already conclusion. So, as a chairman and founder, what is the single most important quality a founder must possess to succeed in the high-stakes world of healthcare ventures?
Well, first, I would say be excited about what you're choosing to get, for your occupation. Make it something that you love to do, and it won't feel like work. Secondly, you're going to get that knocked down a lot, and you have to be persistent, and you have to not take no for an answer, and you have to believe in what you're doing because there are going to be some rough times. So persistence is the name of the game.
Thank you so much for sharing your blueprint. We covered high-stakes funding, team assembly, and the future of non-opioid solutions. Where can our audience learn more about Akelos and support your critical mission?
Sure. Well, we have a website, akelosinc.com, AKELOSINC.com. You can also email me. I'm very happy to talk to people. DRSTEVEFOX at Akelos, AKELOSINC.com. Dr. Steve Fox at AkelosInc.com. And I can send you a deck. I can send you a PPM. I mean, we're raising capital, so to communicate with people. I'm on LinkedIn. So anyway, you're interested in Akelos, I'm happy to get the message across.
Excellent. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
sharing all your insights and wisdom. I really appreciate, and I feel such a privilege to be having this chat and getting to meet with you as well.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.